And yields, I now recognize Mr. Brecheen for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Marin, did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it Marin?
Morin, it's French.
Morin. Thank you very much for being here. The fact that your daughter was killed by an illegal alien, sexually assaulted, do you think that the media is paying attention to these stories to the level that they need to?
I do not, and the reason why I say that is because there's been 4 or 5 that have really hit the media, and it's because there are mothers that are speaking out and not stopping. But there are a lot of women that are assaulted every day, and I think because they're assaulted, but maybe perhaps because of shame or fear, they're not reporting the assault, or it's a local police matter that doesn't necessarily hit national news, so it might just be local news, and or they don't have DNA because they're not able to track these immigrants that have come into the country, and because they don't know their name, they don't know where they're from, they collect DNA from the crime, but then they don't know where else to go with it, that they just kind of like hang in limbo. But there are women that are being attacked every day. I get letters from across the country, and just in my own city, we had 2 murders by illegal immigrants from El Salvador. And I do realize the band that was here earlier that said he was from Prince George's County. He was a state prosecutor during Trump's time in office. So he may have seen lower numbers, but that's not necessarily the state of the country at this moment. And I think that I'm not trying not to take up your time.
No, I appreciate your response. And no one would want to find themselves in a situation that you've experienced. And genuine, heartfelt condolences being extended to you. We're so sorry. This committee is so sorry.
Can I just say one more thing?
Of course you can.
I think that they hear us speak as mothers, and they think because we're mothers, that we're emotional, yes, and we're more attached. But if you actually saw the bodies and the crimes that are actually being committed against a human being, it's like an animal dragging a prey into the woods and attacking them. If they could see how violent these crimes are, I'm not saying that all immigrants are like this, but if people are willing to come into the country illegally, there's something that they're hiding, because an upstanding person would come legally.
Mr. Heike, you, San Diego sector, former Border Patrol chief there, several decades of experience. Do you think the American family, the average American family who hears these stories, has a right to feel less safe? You think it's justified, the feeling across America of just regular people sending their sons or daughters into a public space, a public sphere where they're not present with that child, that this validates a heightened concern for their children's safety?
I do.
Is this something that you experienced in your decades of experience, this heightened level of concern? Was it experienced under the Trump administration, this level, or is there something to be said, direct correlation to this current administration's position on the border?
In my time with the Border Patrol, I have never seen entire zones that were left without agent presence. I've never seen that before.
Mr. Desmond, you're over the San Diego sector. What's interesting is in 2023, with 1,200-mile border wall, of a 2,000-mile border wall, Texas has more than the majority of the border wall. And we know by reports of what Texas is doing to secure their border, they went from being 60% of the encounters to first half of this year, 40%, even though they have more than half. So that's being shifted. We know San Diego's being one of the areas that population is going, because Texas is having to do what the federal government should be doing. You all are seeing this. Are people, the feel of the average American who feels less safe, are they misinformed?
No, they are not misinformed. And many of them see, the effects of it, particularly our beach communities. We get 3 or 4 boats every week that just beach themselves and people walking into the communities. And without law enforcement even able to do anything. Unfortunately, California is a sanctuary state, and our law enforcement, as the chief had mentioned, is prohibited from enforcing any immigration law. They're actually prohibited from even asking someone what their immigration status is. So even though somebody just jumped off a boat and is walking through your neighborhood and is there illegally, our local law enforcement can't do a thing, and people are upset about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Gentleman yields. I now recognize Mr.